Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today. It's a little bit later in the day on Thursday here, but I am recording today's podcast. And this podcast is going to be rather simple, but it's going to be something that is super important as well. And I know this because I lived a lot of my life without doing this. So I'm going to assume that there's people out there that listen to this podcast that could use this advice. In fact, I picked up this advice from a podcast years ago. It was Russell Brunson's Marketing in Your Car podcast. And he had given out an app back then that I use actually on a daily basis. And it's a very simple, I want to say the app is only a couple dollars, and it's like a lifetime fee, but it's called Tomorrow HD. And what the app is, it is a list. So you can write a list, a to-do list, things that you need to do. Things that are very important. Perhaps these things are detrimental, that you get these things done. So for years, I used to try to remember things. So something would pop up in my mind and I would say, oh, shit. I'd say, okay, I got to do that, right? But I might be working out, or I might be doing a morning run, or I might be on like a weighted vest walk. Or I may be like today, I did my 75 hard all out in the woods at a reserve that we have here that has a lot of up and down inclines, things like that. So as I'm doing that stuff, things come to mind. It's like, oh shit, okay, I've got to do that. Oh shit, okay, I've got to do this. And some of these things may not even be something that I'm doing. So I will literally put on my list things that I delegate. Now, one of the cool things that I like about this list is that it on the app Tomorrow HD, whenever you're done with a task, you tap on it and it will put a strike through it. And there's something about putting a strike through a task that you do that gives you momentum and wants you to do more, or it makes you feel like you want to do more. So that being said, I mean, how many times during the day do we get stuck in this this limbo, where we don't really know what we should be doing in that certain moment? These to-do lists really help with that. Now, I talked on a previous podcast about my MIT list, which is the Savage Scheduler. And you guys can download that inside of the Marketing Savage Facebook group. And that is something that you can put on a list app like this as well. So you can put most important task, and you can put some of the smaller, the day-to-day, the tactical stuff. Again, because I've got several assistants that work with me on a daily basis, some of this is just a reminder for me to let them know that they need to take on this project, or that they need to take on this task. And it keeps me very organized. So, keep a to-do list, guys. Keep a list. So when you have these moments where you think of these things, you're going to have a place to be able to write that down. And the cool thing about it is anytime that we have some sort of downtime, or times that we will try to start filling with busy work, you'll have that to-do list there and you'll be able to execute on it. And that's what I'm getting ready to do here in just a moment. I got a few things on my to-do list today that I've got to get out of the way, that I've got to get finished. So I'm about to jump off here and go execute on that shit. And again, if you guys haven't listened to the podcast, the earlier podcast about the Savage Scheduler, that is phenomenal because what that comes down to, or what that's broken down to, are actual MITs, which are most important tasks. So we've got day-to-day task. A day-to-day task may be something like contact so and so at a certain time. It might be something that I give over to my assistant to connect, to contact, to do something, to bring my wife home some flowers. That might be something that I would want to put on, just a normal task. In fact, the wife flower thing, that can actually get super important. So that can also be part of your MIT, which is your most important task, because you're creating a moment there. And I go deep into that on that podcast. So if you haven't listened to it, check it out. But an MIT is also anything that is going to dramatically move the dial on your business. We spend a lot of our time in day-to-day tasks, but a lot of times we only separate a very little amount of time to do the things that are the most important. So what the Savage 7 Scheduler podcast talks about is just being able to separate the things that actually move the dial on your business and your life from the things that are a little bit more minuscule, to say the least. So anyhow, y'all, get it. It's called Tomorrow HD. I love it. And if you're not into carrying around a notebook, I actually got a notebook right here beside me as well. But I just love using this app for small to-do lists. And occasionally I'll put an MIT on there, but usually I'm using the Savage Scheduler for that. But anyhow, y'all, appreciate you for coming along on this Marketing Revolution podcast. And I will see you in the Marketing Savage Facebook group. All right, guys. See you on the next one.